Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. In Donald Trump's global trade war, a countless number of U.S. small businesses report they are now on the verge of closing. Sarah Longwell, who has been selling backpacks for new moms for 13 years, says the tariff costs and the uncertainty are unsustainable.
In April, it went up to 49%. Then it went back down to 10%. Now there's a threat of 36% come Friday on August 1st. This unpredictability has really led to a situation where I can't get an order in. I just don't have $50,000 extra money to pay on an unpredictable tariff that I won't know until my goods hit the port. That could mean the difference of laying off my team in order to get the goods out of port. It really feels like I've become collateral damage as a small business in this trade war, and I have the inability to bring inventory in, which ultimately will close my business.
According to the Commerce Department, 97% of U.S. businesses that import products or supplies are small businesses. Most of them do not have the capacity or margins to eat the costs of tariffs themselves. So once tariff rates are clear, the costs usually get passed along to consumers in the form of higher prices. That's why you hear economists describe tariffs as a tax on consumers. The United States did just reach some certainty with the European Union. This agreement, this deal, calls for a 15% tariff on most EU goods coming into the United States. It's less than the 30% Donald Trump had been threatening, but it's more than the 2% tariff that the U.S. imposed on most EU goods before Donald Trump took office. Here's European Union Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen.
You saw the tension at the beginning. So we had to work hard to come to a common position, and till the very end, as always in negotiations, you don't know whether you'll find the landing point, the landing zone at the very end, or whether it crashes. So it was tough, but in the end, as we were successful, it's good and it's satisfactory.
Again, it's good for the European Union that the tariff is not the 30% Donald Trump threatened. But the 15% on most EU products is higher than the 10% tariff the U.S. deal reached with the United Kingdom. Most analysts in Europe and the United States say the certainty with the European Union is better than an ongoing trade war, but that the deal will still cause long-term fallout.
The European disaffection with this, whilst many share the relief that Ursula von der Leyen you showed expressing there, they also, from France and Germany in particular, expressed real frustration that there's going to be quite a big hit here to European GDP. And we've got Europe already in the last 6 months negotiating to have a partnership agreement with the Indo-Pacific trade area, the CPTPP, as it's called. They're reaching out to to Latin America. They're looking at Southeast Asia. They're looking at Africa. They're looking to do real deals, real trade reduction, barrier reduction deals all over the world, which will increase trade between them and reduce trade with the United States.
So there will be more free trade everywhere except with the United States, and that will divert growth and economic activity in the United States. Donald Trump hopes to encourage foreign manufacturers to set up factories and production lines in the United States, but economists say that will be limited. And in the meantime, American businesses and consumers are getting hit with higher prices on products coming from Asia and Europe. And this caps what has already been a year of tariff roller coasters. Victor Schwartz runs a wine distribution business in New York. Most of his wine comes from Europe. And a few weeks ago, a lower court agreed with him that the initial Liberation Day tariffs that Trump imposed in April violated the federal law that Trump had invoked. But that case is on appeal.
We have been in this very volatile, chaotic environment, all year. There's been different degrees of the chaos, but it's the same chaos, right? And I knew last night, even though I was so elated over the win, I knew it was not over. Obviously, there was going to be at least 1-2 appeals. I didn't know what was going to happen today, but, I knew there was a process. So it's not like we changed anything in light of last night's ruling.
The European Union deal will now provide at least some certainty on wine and other products imported into the United States from EU countries. However, that 15% tariff for most businesses will be passed along to consumers. And as prices rise, many consumers are changing their buying habits, causing some businesses that rely on imports to go out of business. And while the Trump trade deals with the European Union, the United Kingdom, China, and Japan may seem like they will end the financial chaos, not so fast. Most of these deals are framework agreements. That means some of the details still need to be worked out. So for a small business in the United States that relies on imports and needs to make concrete plans about purchasing, supply lines, and sales, this is not over. That's the danger with establishing global trade barriers. Trump may believe it will help bring new manufacturing and production into the United States, but in the meantime, it will also cause a lot of businesses and companies that operate on tight margins in the United States to give up. And that's already happening. And when businesses close down, unemployment increases and overall economic activity drops. Economists are already seeing that in many U.S. sectors. And economists are also seeing U.S. consumer confidence nosedive to the lowest level in decades. And that drop serves as another brake on U.S. economic activity and growth. It all means these are challenging times for countless U.S. businesses and consumers. And Donald Trump's on-again, off-again, on-again tariff approach is not helping. By the way, Donald Trump continues to be dogged by the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, and Trump's latest comments about Epstein's island are by most accounts shocking.
I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island.
Yes, privilege. That was Donald Trump's reference to Epstein's private island, the one at the center of horrific allegations of underage sex trafficking. And Trump described the island as a privilege. Critics are pouncing. Podcaster Brian Allen, privilege is doing a lot of work here. Filmmaker Jeremy Neuberger, the privilege of going to a rape island? The Lincoln Project, the privilege is crazy. Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.